Now, how do we correct either an under remitted or an over remitted
You might want to consider going to one card.
payment? Because these are common things that happen. In fact, in many situations, because of the deadline and the penalties associated with the deadline, when we get up against a wall and we don't have time to go through your tax planning, we're going to give you an estimate, which is just that, an estimate to use so that you can make a payment and not be late with your deadline. That could be either too little or too much. And how do you handle that situation? So when you have an under remittance or an over remittance, typically that resolves itself out because we'll prepare the T4 and we'll say, hey, this is how much has been remitted. When you file your personal tax return, that under remittance or over remittance will be taken into account. And as long as you have covered the CPP, both the employer and employee portion of the CPP, that's the minimum amount the employer must withhold. Okay. When it comes to tax, the employee is allowed to tell the employer not to withhold the tax because they might have other credits that are going into affecting what their personal tax rate is. So they can tell their employer, I don't want you withholding any tax, but the employer must withhold CPP and EI. So if the under remittance is below the CPP amount, you're going to have to make a payment to top that up, and there will be potentially a late penalty. But as long as it's more than the CPP, then don't fret about it. Don't worry about it. You will have to pay the difference when you file your personal tax return in April. Now, one of the other common things is a misapplied payment. So a payment will be applied instead of to the December remitting period to maybe like a July year-end period or October or November, and then you'll be hit with a penalty. That's really easy to clear up. You just simply give CRA a call or go on to your My Business account, make the correction, tell them what period it should be for. They'll then typically waive all the penalties that you were charged, assuming that it was actually on time for the right period. This is a common issue that we do see regularly. So if you get that, don't fret. As is that letter where you're being told you've changed remitting thresholds. This is a common thing that we see all the time. And people call us, oh, what do I do? They told me I changed my remitter threshold and now I have to pay every month. You technically have to pay every single month anyways, no matter what remitted period you're on. You just only have one payroll per year, which is why you only pay once a year. If you were making multiple payments throughout the year to yourself, you would be required to do monthly payroll. But when your remitter threshold changes, that doesn't mean that you now have to necessarily make a monthly payment if you're still doing it where you're doing a salary as what most of our clients do, stroke of a pen, done once a year based on tax planning with your account.